That we haven't heard much about financial risks in China for quite a while. This is a big achievement I consider, as we keep hearing about bad news from other parts of the world, like the US government debt ceiling or South Korea's personal debt problems, etc. So how have the Chinese financial regulators managed to safeguard the country's financial system in recent years?
Yes, frankly speaking, when we're talking about risk existence at the moment, we have to be aware that even we haven't heard any more words about the risk or hearing less about the risk, doesn't mean that there's no risk at the moment, because we never had the zero risk at the moment, because risky or risk situations existing is very normal, especially for today's development, also like in China, to developing countries. We have some problems and we are facing new challenges. That's why we have risks. But China is one of the best countries who have put all the risk under tough control and effective control. We have already adopted many major policies. The first major policy that is very famous known to the whole world, that is the bottom line concept. What the meaning of the bottom line concept? That means all the financial institutions, when they are doing financial activities, they have to consider where is the red line. So we should not allow all this risky that happened to the entrepreneur and enterprises. So bottom line concept is very essential and very effective for China's development. And secondly, the major policy for China's financial development is keeping balancing. When we are talking about output, that is spending, we have to see what we have income, what we have got a return. Keep these 2 points in the good balancing, then the risk is very less, is very positive. So that's why China is very safe, very healthy, and very smooth in the financial control, especially by the financial control. Is better control the risks, as we always talking about, pay more attention to financial risks. This is the first word and also everlasting risk in control in China. This is also one of the major reasons that China's financial market is quite stable here.
Authorities have been encouraging banks to support small companies in China, but those small companies do not have sufficient assets as collateral, and their risk control levels vary a lot. What should banks do to increase more support to the real economy and at the same time manage its bad loan ratio?
This is a very interesting question. We know that in the past 10 years or 20 years, China's government has tried best to keep a good solution to solve the problem with the small, medium-sized companies, because they are really facing the financing pressure. And also one of the key problems for these small companies, as you mentioned, that they don't have enough asset to mortgage the loans they will receive from the institution. But from the banking regulation, all the bankers, when they are give out all these loans and credits to the lenders and rent, they have to need some asset as a mortgage. So this is really a contradiction. But some new policies are adopted to facilitate, to help the small companies to get the loans with an easy way. For instance, we have the personal credit record, and also we can use all these project opportunities to avoid any possible risks. Because for some companies, they have to avoid some loans activities without any the real project behind it. This is something what we have to avoid. So when the banking are sure that all these companies, they have real activities, real doing business, and then they can ensure to all this credit and also loans to the entrepreneurs. So by doing so, that we can avoid and reduce the bad debt ratio. On the other side, all these 3 levels of the alarm system in the institutions, for the middle level, branch level, and sub-branch level. All these 3 levels, they have supervision and a monitoring system to keep eyes on all these behaviors and business activities even with these entrepreneurs who lend the money, who borrow the money from the bankers, the banker will see and will know what they are doing with these loans, so to avoid this misuse of these loans. So this is a very effective policy.
Right. It's quite remarkable that China has completely banned cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin, both for trading and payment in the country. It's also banned P2P finance. What are your views on such decisive policy moves? Will the authorities encourage innovation in the fintech sector still?
I think this is a decision is very not only decisive but very important. Also, keep the real problem that China should avoid. You know, for China's economy, especially for the financial system, we have to be aware to avoid the two kinds of person. One is opportunist. The second is the speculator. Because the Bitcoins is a virtual currencies that are used for only for those speculators, not for normal people. So when we're talking new fintech innovation, we have to know that for whom, for what. If we understand that for whom, if they are doing this for the people and for the people's economy, for the living standard upgrading, that is good decision move. But some countries that are doing for capitalists, for small group of people's interests. I think a second, for what reason? It's not only for the social equality, for the social equality. So this is the big challenge for the regulators to avoid such problems. So when we are talking about this Bitcoin, virtual currencies, this is with the name, with the beautiful cap of innovation, but it really has nothing to the benefits of the people. So we have to be aware, all this fintech innovation must serve the people, serve the nation, serve the real economy. Then that is okay. We give the green light.
Thank you so much for insights. That's Mr. Liu Zhiqin for us. You're watching Global